Coach said she is just fearless, has been challenged throughout this entire season. Duke has one of the best strength of schedule down the list on the season. And to start everything off, Virginia Tech will get the ball first in their maroon jerseys. Elizabeth Kitley tried to find the look on the interior first to Rose Mishaw, and that will be a turnover, and they'll give the ball back to Duke.
I wouldn't expect anything less of them trying to establish in the paint first and then try to get to the outside play a little bit.
Here's your starting five for Duke. There's been a very impressive player for them in this season, the transfer from Boston College, as Kennedy Brown steps out for the triple, could knock it down, and Virginia Tech holds him just to one shot on that possession. Chelsea, was very intriguing. We talked about it in the open, just how Duke, coming off of one of their most impressive shooting performances from deep, 59% from beyond the arc for 13 trays. Can they keep that going?
Yeah, I mean, they were able to get inside the paint and kick out for threes. Ooh, that's interesting call. I thought she was going to pull out the chair right there, but whenever you get a chance to get inside the paint and kick out for threes and then knock them down, everything kind of opens up. It loosens the defense a little bit, and so that's what you're going to be looking here for this Duke squad.
You just saw Carol Lawson in her fourth season here at Duke as Virginia Tech on the board with the triple.
Man, you can't have that much separation against Georgia Amore, especially starting this game. You don't want to get her started early.
For a single season, she passed Asia Shepherd. You know her all too well, former teammate in Vegas. And you know she can light it up from outside, as no points on that possession for Virginia Tech, but Duke coughing it up on that play. Georgia Amore slowing things down. Another thing that we wanted to talk about for both sides is the pace of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Duke is going to try to speed you up with their defense, get inside the lane, make you try to make quick decisions, but a point guard is able to calm an offense down also well.
So another turnover for both sides as we go back to this triple by Amore.
Yeah, you can't fall asleep right there. I mean, she's quick, she's active, and they're going to be looking for it beyond the arc.
Georgia Amore averaging about 17 points per game, close to 8 assists as well, ranked third nationally in assists, as that one goes down to Rose Mishaw for the rebound. High hedge makes Georgia Amore cough it up. Matilda Eck riding the baseline. Still a lot of time left on the shot clock for the Hokies. 10, Eck at the rim, short. Full court pass on the money. But the Hokies did a great job getting back in transition defense.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. You know Duke is trying to create turnovers and play in transition.
So they'll have a reset at the top of the key with 12 left on the shot clock. Still looking for their first points of the game as we're almost 3 minutes in. Off the bounce, Kennedy going at Kitley, and that is rejected.
First one down the court. She said, get that out of here real quick. Let me go get a bucket real quick. But that's great defense. She got into the paint just a little bit, but she had the angle on her the whole time.
And that's the toughest thing, going against Elizabeth Kitley in that 6'6" frame. Kennedy Brown standing at 6'6" as well. This has been a matchup between Kennedy and even Reigan Richardson, knowing Kitley and what her moves are getting to the rim and defending. A lot of attention going to Georgia Amore, kicks it out. Good ball movement for the Hokies as Kayla King is on the board.
And that's a good sign if you're Virginia Tech. She knocks down her first shot attempt.
Kayla King has gone 1 for 4 from outside in the last 3 games. To see that one go down for her, it's almost a sigh of relief for Kenny Brooks. All 6 points coming from outside for the Hokies. Kitley got the seal, got the bucket, and a timeout on the way for Duke as Virginia Tech opens up the first frame with an 8-0 lead. Everything going the Hokies' way. We'll see if the adjustments are there for Duke after the break.
It's bow time. Get
pictures from just a season ago. Virginia Tech, a season of first for them. As you could see, the litany of things that they were able to do last season, first 30-win season, first Final Four appearance. Of course, them getting the championship for the ACC for the first time in Kenny Brooks and the program history. It was just really fun to see how their journey continued and took them to the Final Four.
Man, it was a joy to watch them last year. They just played with so much joy and so much freedom. And so to be able to build off that and come back the next year with a lot of people that was able to accomplish that, it has to be fun.
One of those people coming back was Elizabeth Kitley, who could have entered into the draft. You know, the new mock draft has just been released for ESPN. Elizabeth Kitley deciding to run it back after that Final Four appearance. Lost a couple of pieces with Kiana Traylor as well as Taylor Stoll going off, getting drafted in the WNBA, but this is a very fun group and a team that wants to get back to the Final Four.
Yeah,
short shot clock.
For that.
4 on the shot clock for Virginia Tech. King has to heave it, and it drops! Wow! Kayla King with the heave. Might have lost a shoe. Either way, the bucket is good. Gets the deflection on the other end.
Came back and hustled. That's going to put that on the highlight reel. She needed that. I mean, she came into the game with the first jumper. She said, I'm feeling it. Let me just fade to the left real quick. Watch this. Man, shot clock running down, sometimes this is always the best shot. Just let that thing fly.
She might have gotten a 10-second release. The medical bag might have been in the foot as well. Kayla King, 2 triples already tonight. 11-0 lead for the Hokies as we're about midway into the first quarter, and Duke still looking for their first points.
Yeah, some of those shots that they've taken early in the shot clock has really fueled Virginia Tech's secondary action.
So Matilda Eck picks up the foul there. Gonna be the first, and 2 free throws on the way for Reigan Richardson. Knocks it down. Virginia Tech, their 3-point shooting. You can see we already mentioned Asia Shepherd, who leads the way, was leading the ACC in threes made as well. Georgia Amore has some work to do, but has been impressive beyond the arc as well. Kayla King, 82% of her points come from beyond the arc.
Man, I couldn't even imagine doing one thing that's 82%. Wow, to be able to shoot that many threes. Wow.
You assist on 82% of the points.
Oh, I like what you did there.
So there you go.
All right, all right.
That one,
I'll use that one.
Elizabeth Kitley on the board now as well, as she got the nice bucket on the inside. Triple outside, no good, as Samuel, the transfer from Wake Forest, in the game for the Hokies. Nice ball movement for the Hokies in this one as well, and Georgia Amore setting things up. The high hedge from Thomas as they have another short shot clock. 5, Georgia Amore needs some release. King close to another buzzer beater, just short.
She came to the ball like, let me try this one more time.
Lightning did not strike twice in this one. Taina Mayer from the baseline, another off attempt. Okonawa looking for her first bucket as well, and this is not the shooting performance that we saw just a game ago from Duke.
I mean, all part of setting your defense, right, is having good shot attempts on the offensive end. You've seen some possessions where they probably could have worked the shot clock a little bit more, got into the paint, make the ball go side to side to be able to move Virginia Tech's defense.
Duke right now 0 for 9 from the field. Only point coming from Reigan Richardson in the free throw. Substitution on the way for Duke as Thomas takes a seat, and Jaden Donovan, another freshman coming out of Washington, D.C., checks in for the Blue Devils. Jane Donovan bringing a lot of energy, very much like Okonawa off the bench. Seen a lot of their uptick in the last few games. Okonawa spin move, almost lost her footing, able to gather herself on the inside. 1 too many steps for Richardson, and that will be the second turnover for the Blue Devils.
Duke's offense kind of looks out of sorts right now, just really putting their head down, trying to get into the paint, trying to make things happen. But it's always important to be quick, but not in a hurry.
Full court pressure we're seeing from Duke. As Kayla King will bring it up. And we asked that question a couple of times too for Georgia Amore. Who is that backup point guard? We've talked about Winslow being one of those players as well, but Kayla King, happy to take over when needed. 10 on the shot clock. Elizabeth Kitley battling underneath against Jaden Donovan. Has the single coverage. 2 on the shot clock. Bounced in, fade away, and Jaden Donovan beside herself. Came down to the last second on the shot clock when the foul was committed.
Oh, I think I may need to see that one again and see if she got up on that one. Jaden Donovan making her work for the very last second. What you think?
I don't think that's the angle that could really give me any type of confidence in making the call.
I like what you did there. I like what you did there.
I appreciate you, Chelsea, you know. But I do say this, Jaden Donovan really holding her own, and for you to go at the 2-time ACC Player of the Year as a freshman, taking that assignment, I thought that was a perfect setup for her. Mayer riding the baseline, looking for the first field goal for Duke in this ball game. Block call. Richardson off the bounce. So Kayla King will pick up the foul there. Just a second team foul. More substitutions for the Hokies as Matilda Eck will actually check in now. She'll come in for Kayla King. Kayla King already with 2 triples tonight. Has knocked down 33 on the season. Excuse me, 36 on the season. Richardson again, power move to the bucket. Gets it for the first field goal of the Blue Devils.
Yeah, they were able to work the clock. I mean, there was a play that went to the baseline, but when they're able to see those seams and have confidence in their drives, they're able to get nice buckets.
Matilda Eck forcing the situation at the rim. One too many steps, so that'll be a turnover. The 4th for Virginia Tech. Sometimes you just need to see the first bucket go down. 2:13 left in the first quarter. Down 10.
Yeah, it's kind of like that exhale moment. Like, okay, we can kind of settle in, and there might be pregame jitters and everything, so looking for them to score a couple more buckets now.
Another block at the rim as Camilla Emsbo close to a steal, and another foul. That's back-to-back fouls that's going to go against Jaden Donovan as Delaney Thomas checks in the ball game. So that's a very unfortunate substitution as well, dealing with foul trouble, because you're going to have to throw different bodies at Elizabeth Kitley on the block. Steal. Okonowa dishes it off, and Richardson with another bucket for Duke.
And she always has a knack for the ball. She's at the right place at the right time every time, and able to push in transition to lead to the easy lay.
Averaging 11 points, 3 Blue Devils are averaging double figures this season are coming into this ball game as Georgia Amore left alone, and that's a bad idea.
And it's always difficult when you're coming off a screen and the post player hedges out and the guard is able to get downhill. You sometimes lose track of her, and she just popped out for an easy 3.
Georgia Amore left alone, and you gotta think the communication has to be better for Duke finding Amore as we're under a minute to go in the first quarter. Mayer found the lane, took it, gets the bucket.
I mean, you were kind of right, Angel. They kind of needed a little help seeing the ball go through the basket, and they've been able to get good looks so far.
Have had 3 buckets in the last minute and 45 seconds. It's a much different story prior. Elizabeth Kitley, patent fadeaway.
Nice little shimmy, I like that.
Just as smooth as it gets. works on it all the time, just seeing the work that she puts in with the footwork. Kenny Brooks talks about that, just adjusting as the last possession can be for Duke. 7 seconds left. Duke short, tipped in, and Imsbo, they'll say it's no good as we are done with the first quarter, and Virginia Tech with the lead. After the first frame, had the 11-point lead. However, Duke went on a bit of a run towards the end of that quarter. Some things that you want to see carried over.
Yeah, Duke really started off the game shooting threes and outside shots. The latter half of that first quarter, you saw them getting into the paint, being active defensively to get easy buckets.
We'll see if they can listen to the ultimate floor general on this possession here. Gray alongside Chelsea Gray.
You just had to throw that in there real quick.
I just speak, I think very highly of you. Backdoor, that's broken up by Eck. So another turnover. Virginia Tech has 5, Duke now with 3.
If I'm Carol Lawson, I'm not really mad at that turnover. I see what she saw there. If she would have let it a little bit more, she maybe would have got the bucket.
High hedge by Thomas once again. Georgia Amore looking for some space. Okonowo with the assignment for Georgia Amore as Misha gets it, going one-on-one against Thomas, short on the shot. So Elizabeth Kitley not on the floor for the Hokies, as Claire Strack on the floor. You got to watch out at the top of the key. Oluchia Kanawa leads the team in steals as right on cue, a steal for Duke. The bucket right off the rim. And that was something Carol Lawson was very frustrated with in their game against Virginia. Despite them winning, she said there were some missed opportunities. We're getting the looks that we want. We're missing point blank shots. Those are the points as a young team she wants them to grow in.
When you go back and you chart those moments and you chart those offensive possessions and things that you can get back, it's usually about 3 to 4 possessions on both sides of the basketball, and it could be a completely different outcome. So those layups, missed free throws, wide open three-point shots, those are moments that I know Carol wishes she could have back.
Georgia Amore off the mark, so after hitting her first 3 at the beginning of the game, has gone a bit cold as Kitley and Olivia Samuel check back in the game. Well, our next gymnastics meet right here on AC Network and the ESPN app is Sunday afternoon when Pittsburgh squares off against number 19 Clemson at Little John Coliseum. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern. So Kennedy Brown didn't like the look on the inside. That'll be a turnover for Duke, but Carol Lawson often says that Kennedy Brown at the top of the key is one of their best facilitators, one of their best passers in that position.
It's always difficult on your rotations when you have a post player at the top of the key. Does the post player help? Are you switching guard to guard? Those different matchups, if it's this person screening versus this person screening. So I would imagine she's able to see those different reads at the top of the key.
After an 11-0 start in the first quarter, Georgia Amore top of the key off. Kayla King with the rebound. Eck will try again to no avail. So after an 11-0 start for the Hokies, now Duke with the only 2 points to start the second quarter. So the Hokies on a little bit of a dry spell from the offense. Hokies have numbers.
I just love when they don't have anything in the secondary action. Georgia Amore calms down this offense, runs a play either called by herself or Kenny Brooks.
7 on the shot clock. Underneath, Georgia Amore couldn't get the angle off the glass. Might have just wanted to get something off the rim, but gives it right back. Duke, their 5th turnover of the night. Duke averaging about 17 turnovers per game. Right now, they're sitting at 5. Underneath, Olivia Samuel was left alone. How she got that over the outstretched hands of Kennedy Brown, not sure, but it goes down for her first bucket of the ball game. Jackson on the other side responds with the triple.
Those are one of those shots where you see it go up, you're just like, wait. Okay, that was a good shot, because they needed a good possession on that end.
Yeah, Ashlyn Jackson, the sophomore, now with 5 points. A lot of contact, and Duke everywhere, starting to see more of that rotation on the baseline.
Yeah, they tried it this last possession after that. But here's Ashlyn Jackson coming up for the huge 3-point shot. And that rotation that we talked about, it started in the possession before that when they went into a hard hedge action against Amore. They were a little bit late on the rotation, but this final possession was able to get it done.
So the 8th turnover for Virginia Tech, and the first foul going against Georgia Amore. We're about halfway through the 2nd quarter. 8-point lead for Virginia Tech. Duke coming into this one, owning the series, having the advantage 28-8. Coach Brooks, however, is 6-4 in this series. It was a fun one to watch even last season as they split outside of Virginia Tech taking down Duke in the semifinals of the ACC tournament. But you got to think about the way that Virginia Tech ended last year, 31-5, as there's a foul at the top of the key that'll go against Duke. Virginia Tech trying to own this record. As we'll step aside, we'll be back after the break.
You ready? Chris came to TurboTax because...
Well, for Virginia Tech, after shooting 7 for 12 in the first quarter, it's been a little bit different in the second. They're only 1 for 7 with the 2 points there. What are some things that you're seeing differently, if not just in their offense, on the defensive end for Duke?
Duke is doing a good job with their hard hedging and making them make another pass, and it gives them a chance to rotate out to the corner. So Virginia Tech has to find a way to be efficient offensively after the hard hedge on Amore.
Duke shot 3 for 15 in the first quarter, as that one's over the head of Elizabeth Kitley. There will be a foul that is going to be assessed against Kennedy Brown. So that will be her second. Actually, her first, excuse me.
Yeah, I thought that was great defense right there in that possession. They just got a little locked up after the pass went, but I thought that was great defense.
Kitley rolls that one in off the baseline dive. So Elizabeth Kitley with 8 points, 4 for 4 from the field. No player in double figures yet, but Virginia Tech with another double-digit lead. Duke shooting 2 for 5 in this frame, as Reigan blocked at the rim. Kitley just racking them up.
She's there waiting after they're curling that action. If they do the handoff, if they do the slip screen, she's there waiting, reading the defense. Or reading their offense, rather.
So Carly Winsel trying to set something up. Another short shot clock. Elizabeth Kitley turns around short, and Kennedy Brown comes down with the rebound. Kennedy Brown now with 5 rebounds. Hasn't been on the board yet in the scores column. Taina Mayer also quiet from the field. That bucket is good. Emma Cable able to knock that one down.
That was a good setup. Great setup by Mayer. She was able to attack the defender on the screener and able to set that back pin for the three.
And the Cable on the board now with the triple. After the first quarter, there were only 2 players on Duke that had scored. That was Richardson and Mayer. Now they have 4 as Virginia Tech is able to respond.
Kitley right in her comfort zone, able to get to that fadeaway deep inside the paint.
I guess that's one of the questions, too, that every coach, you know, comes to the table with their team. How do we make her uncomfortable? Malucci at the pull-up. So Carly Winsel. Off the bounce. That was knocked away, but Samuel able to retrieve it. King didn't like the look off the bounce. Kitley taking a lot of the bump. And nothing there. They do reset the shot clock, and we'll see who it goes back to. Actually, Virginia Tech will get it back with 20.
Those are one of those possessions that Duke has to find a way to get that rebound. They make them take a tough shot, make them shoot the shot the last second on the shot clock. So those are one of those moments that you wish you could get back.
Georgia Amore with the 6 points, 2 of them coming from beyond the arc. Short on the shot is the freshman, Karis Baker. An illegal screen at the top of the key. That's going to go against Olivia Samuel.
A little bit surprised Kayla King didn't shoot that 3 right there. I thought she had an opportunity to get one off.
Start seeing that hesitancy, and you almost question why after seeing, you know, the last second heave and 2 threes going down in the first quarter.
Maybe she just wants to shoot the ones that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then at that point, you just say, okay, we'll find her at that point, you know. Less than 2 minutes to play in the first half. Duke outscoring Virginia Tech in the second quarter, 8-6. King might have gotten away with a little bit of a travel there.
It was a little bit of a hop, skip, and a jump.
And a jump. Oh, we're going to add that one in there too. Georgia Amore. After hitting her first 2 threes, has missed her last 4. Dish at the rim. Kennedy Brown gets that one to fall. First bucket for Kennedy Brown. Seven-point ball game. A minute to play in the first half. Kitley going at Brown, turns around, money ball.
If they can make her go to the other side and go to the help, I mean, that's going to only help Duke's defense. She's getting into that pocket, into her fadeaway way too easy. But that's what she loves, and that's her bread and butter. Yeah, she passed up a good shot to get a great shot and a great look. That might have been a foul right there, a little bit of an and one. I know Kara was calling for it.
You know what the thing is, like the physicality, we haven't touched on that for Virginia Tech coming into this ball game. They said they learned that a season ago. This was the last game that they had that they lost in ACC play. And they remember that moment. So Duke cutting into it. Just a 7-point ball game once again.
And you kind of feel the momentum shift kind of go to the Duke's way a little bit. And
here comes
she was able to get a wide open layup.
Gets the fake and the bucket. 5-point ball game with the swing in Duke's favor. Georgia Amore looking for help. Top of the key, has 2 to work with. That's knocked away. Duke will get it back with .6. Richardson all over the floor for Duke. 11 turnovers for Virginia Tech, and Duke made them pay.
Yeah, they did everything.
0.7 rebounds to add to that, as you can see the tail of the tape on the left side of your screen. Virginia Tech, though, held to their second fewest points and a half this season. Their earliest points or lowest points was 25 against NC State. But this is their lowest scoring quarter where they had 8 in the second. So Kitley saw a little bit more of that physicality you were asking for.
Yeah, you got to make her do something different. Make her go to her counter move instead of her fadeaway.
Nice move by Jackson on that take from the baseline. So Ashlyn Jackson will get 2 free throws coming up. Well, here's Saturday's basketball triple header coming up. Clemson squares off against Florida State at 4 Eastern. Then Virginia takes on Georgia Tech. And finally, Kyle Filipowski and number 7 Duke host Pitt at Cameron Indoor. Should be a great afternoon of evening hoops. So we'll see that as well on the ACC network. That's all day from 4 to evening. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you have all the devices to catch that. So just a 2-possession game after a slow start for Duke. Just scoring 7 points in the first quarter. But they returned the favor defensively in the second as they held Virginia Tech to just 8 points in the second.
And part of that was Virginia Tech was just turning the basketball over. That's a great block by Jaden Donovan. Great defensive possession there by the Duke Blue Devils. And man, you sure missed Jaden Donovan in the first half defensively.
Jaden Donovan, who went after that first block in the first half over Elizabeth Kitley, got called for the foul. That was all ball for the freshman. Jaden Donovan, one of those players for Kara Lawson she's spoken very highly of in the last couple of games, which she brings off the bench. Jackson knocks down another 3. 1-point ball game.
She had one just like that on the other wing in the first half. Trying to think if she was going to come up with that one.
Georgia Amore off the bounce has not scored since the 3-minute mark in the first quarter. 3 to work with top of the key. That might have been tipped. It was. Richardson leaking out. Jackson coughs it up. Kennedy Brown with the dish on the inside. Richardson sends it back out. Jackson, step back. Money ball in the first lead for Duke in this one.
Man, that's a nice move, nice punch dribble. I wish he would have stepped back a couple more inches to get that 3-point shot.
The charge we're seeing from Duke as they have the first 6 points in the third quarter. Virginia Tech looking for any offense. Kitley held up, short on the shot.
Yeah, that's a bunny that she wishes she normally makes that one.
Jane Donovan able to almost thread the needle there and get it to Jackson in the corner. Jackson able to work her way on the inside and takes the bump. We'll get 2 more free throws. How about the aggressive play we're seeing from Jackson out of halftime?
Yeah, she waited to see if they were going to close out a little bit. Gave them a couple jab steps and knocked it down. And then when they went right back to her into that pick and roll action, nice punch dribble, separation, step back for that jumper.
Clara Strack picks up her 2nd foul. So she will take a seat. We have a substitution for Virginia Tech as Samaya Suffren, the freshman out of Charlotte, North Carolina, checks in the ball game.
I would look for Virginia Tech to get the ball into Kitley, get a nice easy bucket in the lane.
Seeing a different look for Duke as they continue to build on their lead, and 13 points from Jackson as she's leading all scorers. Why has this game turned around for Duke? After a slow start, Kitley from the baseline has gone ice cold. Ill-advised pass on the inside. Georgia Amore looking for an opportunity in the paint. Coughs that up. 13th turnover for Virginia Tech. Actually, they'll be calling this a jump ball, and it'll stay with the Hokies. And this is not something you want to see, as Georgia Amore I do believe is at the bottom of that pile and needing some assistance. Not aware yet of what happened to put her in this state, but what we do know is that it's good to see her up and on her feet, getting a much deserved applause from the crowd as well.
Kind of hard to. Right there, an elbow, just everybody on the floor trying to get it.
So hopefully we will have a report for Georgia Amor, and we'll definitely keep an eye out on when she left the ball game as well and what Virginia Tech is able to do without her. So Wenzel, Suffren, Samuel, King, and Kitley on the floor now for Virginia Tech. Richardson able to come down with the rebound. As Duke holding on to this 1-point lead. A great start in the third quarter, outscoring Virginia Tech 8-2 as Kennedy Brown mishandles it, and Elizabeth Kitley able to get a hand on it for the jump ball. This one should go to Duke. So now Kennedy Brown slow to get off the court. Holding at her face as well. And these are after 2 hustle plays as well. So we saw Georgia Amor trying to come up with a loose ball opportunity. How about the knee to the face for Kennedy Brown? Took that inadvertently from Kayla King. Will take a seat on the end of the bench, and she's being tended to by the training staff for Duke.
Yeah, both teams playing extremely hard, and sometimes those moments is wrong place, wrong time.
So Jackson coughs that up, but she has been outstanding for Duke in this quarter. She has all of their points to start the third. Another turnover for Virginia Tech. That'll be their 13. Dish pass underneath. Jaden Donovan with the highlight.
I was wondering where that pass was going to, but they saw something I didn't. And she got up and skied for that tip-in. Defense leading to offense for Duke.
Chelsea, that's something I don't think I've ever heard. They saw something you didn't.
I mean,
that's
I saw
rare
the
air.
pass.
Rare air. Wenzel tried to dish that one off on the inside, lost it. Piling up back-to-back turnovers, and Duke responding with their own run. It's been all Duke in the third quarter as Kenny Brooks is not pleased with what he's seeing from his squad to start off the second half.
Yeah, they were able to get into the paint a little bit, and it always starts with their defense, and able to get downhill there. Nice pass by Richardson for the easy lay.
Only one riding this wave. The Blue Devils right now on a 21-6 run. That sits the 5-minute mark in the second quarter. They have the 33-28 lead over Virginia Tech. If you are just joining us, Georgia Amor left the ball game at about the 6-minute mark of this third quarter after a tough fall. Was at the bottom of the pile, went to the back, and we'll see if we can get an update on her later. Kennedy Brown was also at the end of the bench, and we do not see her on the floor, nor do we see her on the bench as well right now. So we'll see if we can get updates on both players as soon as possible. Another turnover And this is what it's looked like all third quarter. Virginia Tech has 16 turnovers, and Duke has scored 13 points off of them.
I mean, they haven't had to run that many sets in this third quarter because they're just scoring off of the transition buckets they're creating off from their defense.
Can you imagine us saying at this point after the game had started that Duke's shooting 41% from the floor? But that's something you can believe. Oluchi Akanawa at the rim. Get money. Another timeout for Kenny Brooks as this team right now just trying to piece things together without their floor general. We'll see if they can do that after the break. We have been out in transition, Duke with the lead, mainly because of them taking advantage of these opportunities.
And Duke's defense is really just getting into the lane and making deflections, making it difficult for Virginia Tech to run their offense, making them go into their secondary actions, getting deflections, hustle plays, trying to make it difficult to get the ball into Elizabeth Kitley.
Right now, Duke on that 8-0 run, as you were talking about. That's over the last minute of play, but also on an 8-2 run since Georgia Amor has exited the game. So we were able to see Kennedy Brown emerge from the locker room. She is back on the bench for Duke, and no word right now on Georgia Amor. Just really hoping for the best. You hate to see any injury in sport. So Elizabeth Kitley right now with the rock at the top of the key. She's been quiet since the second quarter. Peeing off the bounce, nothing there. Bops around a little bit. Winsel dishes it on the inside, a much needed bucket for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, they had to stop this run immediately.
Seeing a little more of the zone too for Virginia Tech.
They have a little bit of a different lineup. Whenever you're losing the head of the snake in Georgia Amor, you kind of have to find a way to fuel some points or get some stops.
Reigan Richardson knocks down the shot there, averaging 11 points per game this season. Is right at her average now. Back-to-back games that she's had in double figures.
We talked about a shoot around if Georgia Amor is not at the point guard position, who was taking on that role, and you just saw there that Kayla King is bringing the ball up, initiating the offense.
And Samaya Suffren trying to see if she could start the offense as well. Another turnover, and that's been the name of the game for Virginia Tech in this one, as Duke will get it back. Gotta look at the adjustments too. We've talked about Duke and what they've done well, but you've been in situations where you haven't been able to be on the floor, but with the veteran group, what needs to be said, what needs to be done, the adjustment that needs to be made.
And the coaches can only say so much. The huddles have to get tighter. The words have to get stronger. You have to hold each other accountable, and it's possession by possession. You're not gonna have a 9-point shot on the offensive end. You're not gonna have a 9-point stop defensively. It has to be possession by possession, make small goals.
Well said. So a 9-point lead for Duke as we got a substitution on that side as well. Jaden Donovan will get a much-deserved blow. Bringing a Mare has had a quiet night so far, just 2 for 7 from the field. But everyone else has been able to step up, including Richardson, who just continues to pour them in, averaging double figures for the first time in her career.
And I really love her 1-2 dribble pull-up game. Really efficient, nice and smooth.
13 points for Richardson as there's a foul that goes against Reigan there on that last series.
And here she is making a nice backdoor cut. She saw that she wouldn't be able to get right into the lane, so drops for that one dribble pull-up, nice and flow. She's playing a great game here tonight.
As the 13 points did just pick up her second personal foul. Samaya sends it to the corner, 3-ball, nothing there. Richardson left alone, no hesitation, back iron. Under the 2-minute mark for the third quarter that has gone all Duke's way. So Virginia Tech just has 4 points in this frame as the bump is there and free throws on the way for Suffren.
She kind of makes something out of nothing there. It was trying to get organized, maybe make a set in there for Kitley down low.
So Suffren, who has shot 70% from the free throw line this season, will step up and knocks down the first of the pair. Well, Sunday afternoon, our ACC Network women's basketball doubleheader starts in Raleigh at noon Eastern. Then the 4th-ranked NC State hosts Duke. Then Louisville takes on North Carolina at Carmichael Arena in Chapel Hill. Women's hoops every Sunday right here on the AC Network and the ESPN app. Imsbo joins the party with the baseline jumper.
Wow, Duke is really flowing offensively here in this third quarter.
This is the biggest lead for Duke as they're now up by 12. Suffren tried the spin move to no avail there. The kick ahead, nice dish to Imsbo, and the foul committed by Kayla King. So Duke doing a better job of advancing the ball off stops as well.
And really efficient, nice move there. You see she had a mid-range jumper the possession before, now getting a chance to knock down 2 at the free throw line.
Kenny Brooks just trying to figure it out right now without Georgia Amor on the floor. Less than a minute to play in this third quarter. But he talked about it. He said, listen, it all starts with the big 3 for him, and that's with Elizabeth Kitley, Georgia Amor, and Kayla King, and how they need to lead with one another. Now, Kayla King and Elizabeth Kitley returning to North Carolina as a still there. How do they step up? That would have had the crowd elated as this 3-ball drops in for Akanawa. She now has 5 points and knocks down her first 3 of the ball game.
Kenny Brooks talked about it. Offensively, they got to be poised, make the right selection on shots, and not turn over the basketball. And they already have 17 turnovers, and it's not in the fourth quarter yet.
Virginia Tech averaging 11 turnovers in the season. And they had that in the first half. Close to a turnover there. Kitley able to get it back. King squares up, knocks it down. Big bucket for the Hokies.
I would look for Kayla King and Elizabeth Kitley to really be established in that fourth quarter. They have to make a run and make Kara Lawson call a timeout starting the fourth.
Less than 10 seconds to go in this frame. Jackson at the top of the key going at Wenzel. Steps back, that was tipped, and that will do it for the third quarter. Wow, how about Duke and what they've been able to do?
And they're seeing the ball go through the net, they're really hard to stop.
So Virginia Tech starts off the quarter with the ball. Georgia Amor has not returned to the bench, and Elizabeth Kitley has been a little bit out of rhythm since the second quarter. Mayer dishes it to Kennedy Brown. Good to see her back on the floor after she took the hit. Went to the locker room, so she will get 2 free throws. So Elizabeth Kitley picks up her first personal. As Kennedy Brown knocks down the first of the pair, shooting 83% from the free throw line this season on the Lisa Leslie Award preseason watch list. And this one double-figure scoring game in league play, and she now has 4 points. Full court pressure from Duke. That patent full court press we've seen as another turnover is causing, you know what they're going to throw at you after a made bucket.
For sure, especially after free throws. This is a great opportunity for Duke defense to really set their press. Everybody's in their positions, communicating and ready for defense.
And it's very interesting too that some teams will try and play with fire and see if they can dribble their way out of that press. When on the pass They found some success as Jaden Donovan had a miscue of where she wanted to take off from. So Wenzel will slow things down at the top of the key. Georgia Amor went out at the 6:36 mark in the third quarter as Kitley able to knock that down, but the score was 29-28 Duke at that point. And since then, it's been 19-6 before these last few buckets from Duke.
If I'm Virginia Tech, I'm trying to string stops together, try to get 3 in a row with 3 good possessions offensively, and there goes one.
So Samaya Suffren now has the keys to the offense at this point, as Wenzel missed everything on that 3 attempt. Richardson took a short break as she'll give Maluchi Akanawa the break. Akanawa knocked down that big bucket just a few moments ago. So 2 players in double figures for Duke with Jackson and Richardson. Richardson, the crossover, took the bump on her attempt to the rim, and Samaya Suffren will be issued the foul there.
Yeah, there's moments in this game where it looks like the Virginia Tech defense is trying to ice the screen, and they jump up a little bit more, and it gives a free lane for Duke's guards.
Kennedy Brown still going at Elizabeth Kitley, but that's sent out, in and out for Jackson. It's almost a surprise seeing how she started off the third quarter, had all of their first 8 points in the third. Duke outscored Virginia Tech 27-8 in the third quarter. You gotta count that to just also the Hokies trying to figure out what their looks, what their sets, what their energy looks like without Georgia Amor on the floor and being available.
If I'm Virginia Tech, this game is very much doable. You have 7:46 and you're only down 14, especially after having so many turnovers in that third quarter. So I would just try to make small goals. You put yourself at the 4-minute mark, try to be down only by about 7 or 8 points, and then you go possession by possession.
And mind you, you still have the 2-time ACC Player of the Year in Elizabeth Kitley.
She can get hot real fast.
Kitley right now with 18 points and 10 rebounds, so 5 consecutive double-doubles. Can she also string together a win as Jackson went right into the chest of Kayla King and will pick up the foul there. So Jackson picks up her first as the Hokies will get it back.
You know, it's pretty interesting as well that when Georgia Amor did go out the game, you saw Duke's pressure really speed up and try to do a little bit more of a full court pressure.
You can say for both sides, just the poise, like how do you get settled into your offense at this point is what we're still trying to see from Virginia Tech. Angel Gray and Chelsea Gray, no relation that we know of, on the call as Reigan Richardson continues to just pour it on at the rim.
Yeah, the paint's wide open. They're making Virginia Tech's defense move. Kitley's not in the paint. She's having to guard the pick and roll, go into the action.
Samayo, nice bucket at the rim on that take. So Suffren will get an opportunity to get 3 the hard way at the free throw line.
Yeah, nice downhill bucket. I said it in the shoot around. I said she's pretty quick. She's getting in the lane, nice and efficient. So Coach Brooks going to her to try to narrow this lead in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, Samaya Suffren has only played 9 games this season, a total of 54 minutes. but to her point, Kenny Brooks said arguably the most athletic kid on the team. So we'll see how she could put that on display here in the fourth. Richardson turning around, tried to take a page out of Kitley's book, couldn't knock that one down, and it'll go back to Virginia Tech. Lucia Conowell will check back in for Duke, and Jackson will take a seat. Kara Lawson has to be pleased with how her team has found a way to really dig deep and string some runs together for the lead in the third quarter. Mayer held up, off the glass, in and out. Trying to see if she can stick her hand in the cookie jar. Nothing there, just picks up the foul. So the second foul will go against Mayer, and should be free throws on the way for Virginia Tech, as that's the fifth.
And that's not what you want to do if you're Duke. Having them score points with the clock stopped. Try to play efficient and smart defense defensively.
And then finding a rhythm too, like now taking a breath, looking at the rim, trying to figure out your stroke as the first one doesn't go down. Well, our next gymnastics meet right here on the AC Network and ESPN app. It's Sunday afternoon when Pittsburgh squares off and gets number 19 Clemson at Little John Coliseum. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern. To watch more of the gymnastics. Used to want to do gymnastics when I was younger.
Same. Really? I would do the pose and everything.
We need the footage.
I don't think they have that anymore. VHS.
Kennedy Brown steps out for the three. Okonowa gets the bucket after fighting for the old board. That's the energy we talked about from the beginning of the show and what's been on display all season.
Man, she just outworks the entire Virginia Tech defense in the paint and is able to get the and one. And those plays is what Virginia Tech has to limit if they want to get back in this ball game.
Couldn't knock down the free throw. Finds the ball again. Might have gotten a little lost underneath, as that's going to be a turnover and the 12th for Duke. So Jaden Donovan checks back in. Great size for Jaden Donovan too. 6-foot freshman out of Washington, D.C. As the foul at the other end will send Virginia Tech, to your point, with the clock stopped and an opportunity to knock down 2 shots.
Yeah, and the foul didn't happen in the half-court set. It happened full court by Duke's baseline, and so not a smart foul right there by Okonowa.
And they have struggled to knock it down right now, just shooting 37% from the free throw line, just 3 for 8. Connects on the second. We'll see more of that full court pressure from the Hokies as they'll drop back into their defensive set.
If I'm Duke, I'm really trying to use the clock and get a good shot on goal.
Lessington to work with. Mayer with some decisions to make. Asks for the screen from Kennedy Brown. Not gonna fall, but they are gonna say a foul is underneath, and we've got a little bit of a tussle underneath between Kennedy Brown and Kayla King.
Yeah, they're both playing hard, trying to get the rebound, but a little extracurricular right there.
Both coaches said handle the physicality. We've seen it on display so far in this ball game. Richardson finding the lane and got the bucket. What more can you say?
When it rains, it pours. They're getting into the lane whenever they have a chance to go downhill, whether it's from the baseline. Look at this. Just a couple of dribbles and she's in the lane and trying to play catch up. So she's able to get the and one and go into the free throw line.
Has 17 points, is matching the amount of points she had against South Carolina. Has 7 double-figure games coming into this one, and she is putting on a clinic. Was really the spark that they needed to get on the board even in the first quarter.
And she really started and kept a minute in the first half.
Elizabeth Kitley does have the 18 points, but has struggled in the fourth quarter. Just 2 points in the fourth quarter so far, 4 points in the third. Adam up.
And once again, she had a little flair with the one-handed finish. That's a jelly, or what's that? What we call that?
You're more hip than I, so I'm gonna leave that to you to figure it out. Suffering tried to dish it on the inside, and it seems like that'll be another turnover, and that will be a discussion for Kenny Brooks, as they're now at 20 for the turnovers.
Well, Duke is really able to get into the lane, and that started with Reigan Richardson in the first half, and she's doing the same thing here in the fourth.
Presented by Ally. Whatever you're saving for, we're all better off with an Ally, as Duke continues to roll on with 4:10 left in this ball game. 59-41 edge that they have over Virginia Tech, and they're looking for their first big win of the season. This is also their biggest lead of the ball game. At the bottom of your screen, Virginia Tech last consecutive losses. If they were to drop this one today, would be go back to the 2022 season. We talked about them only dropping 5 games total last season. Coming off of a loss against Florida State in Tallahassee, where Sarah Bajetti just erupted, became one of the starting 5 for NCAA as well. And Duke just quicker, stronger, faster, hungrier to the ball in this ball game.
Man, you've seen so many possessions where you thought Virginia Tech played great defense, going to go down the court, and who it is? Who is it? Akanawa. Get into the lane, get in an easy old board.
And who it is? Reigan Richardson knocking down the shot from the high post area. Her season high and career high, 28. She had that this season against Richmond, and she is chipping away at that as she's right now at 22. Another foul will be assessed against the Duke. So more free throws on the way. So Jaden Donovan picks up her 4th foul. And Samaya Suffern will get 2 free throws. Tough night at the line continues. Well, tonight at 10 Eastern, following our game, the Nothing But Net crew will break down the night in the ACC with highlights and analysis of every women's game and look ahead at the best matchups on the schedule in the coming week. That's coverage you can only find one place, right here on the AC Network and the ESPN app. Well, it's good to hear from the ladies, and a lot to break down in the ACC tonight, as well as we're talking about upsets, with Virginia Tech being the 14th rank coming in to this ball game, and on a verge of being upset by Duke. Well, right now, NC State took the loss at Miami. Miami walking away with a 73-59 win over the Wolfpack. 2 on the shot clock. Mayer pulls up. Syracuse and FSU also underway. The last last time we saw the score. Not sure if it's been updated. If it is the final, 79-73 FSU in Syracuse. So Duke right now with time on their side as they're approaching the 2-minute mark. What more do you want to see from the defensive side for Virginia Tech?
You know, you really want to end this game feeling like you gave it your all, right? I mean, unexpected event with Georgia Amor going out, and that's your point guard. And so it's a little bit different when you don't have your point guard out there. So defensively, just making them make tough shots. They've been able to get into the lane a little too much, and that's how they were able to increase this lead.
I mean, you got to give credit to Duke as well, because even with Georgia Amor on the floor, this was a team that was just fighting and clawing back into the ball game after being down, not by double-digit margin going into the second half, but that first quarter where they only scored 7, you could have looked at it like, okay, so what do we do next?
Yeah, they just kept clawing and trying to cut into that league, and Virginia Tech was just making turnover after turnover, and that's really hard to combat that when they're getting easy transition buckets.
So the woes continue at the free throw line for Virginia Tech. Just 7 for 14. Approaching that 1-minute mark in this ball game where Duke, after the second quarter, just put it in a different gear. Took their first lead of the ball game in the third quarter, but Reigan Richardson really put the team on her back. Really took this game in her hands, and the rest of the team just followed. Samuel, nothing there. How about the rip out of the sky by Aluchi Okanawa for another rebound?
I mean, she plays to the buzzer ends, doesn't she?
Aluchi Okanawa with 9 rebounds, 7 points, as Virginia Tech held to its fewest points this season. If they continue here without a bucket, less than 30 seconds in the ball game, 3 on the shot clock as Kennedy Brown rolls that one in. And this is all but cooked for Virginia Tech. Kara Lawson told us we haven't had a staple win yet over a ranked team, as her team came off of one of the most impressive games against Georgia Tech, and now stringing back-to-back home games now together, where we've seen them fight and be challenged in different ways in those contests.
Yeah, they've done it by committee, and they've done it on both ends of the floor, taking good shots offensively, defensively, getting into the lane, making deflections, and finishing it with a box out.
And it doesn't get easier for the Duke Blue Devils, as they have 2 more ranked teams waiting for them on the other side as they take down the 14th ranked Hokies. They'll see NC State next, as they were up